Welcome to Brush and Banter, the podcast where creativity meets real-life hustle.
Brought to you by Zibra, we go beyond perfect brushstrokes to explore the messy, magical, and meaningful side of being an artist.
I'm Bree Hansen, crafter at heart, creative cheerleader, and president of Zibra.
I'm Annie Bolding, muralist, designer, lover of all things that sparkle, and founder of It's a Disco Day Designs.
And I'm Lauren Cooper, muralist, designer, creative mama, and founder of Rosemont Lane Design Studio.
We're here to bring you conversations with working artists,
practical tips to grow your creative business,
and a built-in painting companion for your next project.
So grab your favorite Zebra brush,
pop in your headphones,
and let the banter begin.
Hi, everyone. Today's episode is a good one for our furniture painters and flippers, especially for anyone who's trying to figure out how to make it work as more than just a hobby.
Today, we're joined by Jen Talley, a longtime Zibra supporter and an incredibly talented furniture artist who has grown not only her craft, but a business that's thoughtful, intentional, and really well-structured.
We have been fans of Jen for a long time, and as Annie said, she's been a huge supporter of Zibra, which we're so grateful for, and we have loved watching her work and her business evolve over the years. So today, we're going to dive into what actually makes furniture painting business successful. So hi, Jen. Welcome to Brush and Banter.
Yeah, hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here.
We're so excited that you're here with us today.
Yeah, I haven't done this for a while, so it's nice to be back.
Oh, well, we love it. Okay, so we'll just jump right into it. So one thing that really stands out about your work is how intentional your business feels, not just creatively, but operationally. So when you look at how you run your business today, what feels like it's shifted or what's most different from early days?
You know, I feel like in the early days, I was just kind of winging it. You know, this started from a hobby, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I do have a business degree, so I do have a business background, but I never really imagined myself owning my own business. So when this started out as a hobby, it was just kind of like, I didn't have any direction or plan or structure or anything like that. I didn't have a set schedule. I threw myself into it because I loved it so much. Spending lots of time. I never wanted to be away from furniture. And at that time, my kids were like 7 and 8, you know, they were little. But I found this hobby, I found this passion. So I was throwing myself into it. And when I look back now, I don't regret spending that much time on it because that's what helped me learn and it's what helped me grow. But what I am more intentional about now is setting boundaries, I guess, for myself and my business. So I used to say yes to everything, yes to every piece of furniture, yes to every client, yes to every partnership or brand deal or anything like that. And again, I don't regret that because that's what helped me grow and learn. But now I'm just more intentional about what, like, not only the time that I'm taking on my business, but what is going to work for me and what aligns with what I want to do and the direction that I want to go. This hasn't changed too much, but I've always wanted it to be, well, perfectly imperfect, obviously, is the name of my business. But I tell people all the time, like, it's also my life's motto. So I want my business to be like that. Nothing is perfect. But that's what makes it me. That's what makes it good. So yeah, I just try to keep everything in line with that.
Yeah. I love hearing that, you know, that in the early days, maybe the boundary was a little more loose, but you have been a bit more firm in that. And it makes for a more sustainable business, I'm sure. So I am curious, though, you mentioned, you know, being more intentional with the things that you're saying yes to. I'm curious about how intentionality shows up when you're picking pieces that you're going to be, you know, altering or changing. So what are the things that you're evaluating from your, you know, intentionality standpoint before you decide, like, okay, this is the piece, this one's worth it, this one I'm going to pursue?
And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like in the beginning, I would do everything. So it would be a a bookcase on the side of the road that was falling apart. And I'm like, I can paint that. I can make it look better. And, I can. But now I'm much more intentional about the quality of the pieces that I work on. So when I look for furniture, I'm always looking for high quality. It doesn't have to be 100% solid wood like people often think, because many, many, many pieces are not solid wood. There's veneer, there's other things. That doesn't make it bad. But you want to look for good quality, dovetailed jointery and dressers. Solid wood is great. But if it does have like veneer, you want the veneer to be a thicker veneer versus a thinner one, as it's easier to refinish. When I look at dressers and things like that, I always open up every single drawer to make sure that they're working well. If they're not, they can be fixed, but sometimes that's not what you want to spend your time on. So it would just be nicer to have a piece that's already in, good vintage shape. I guess I always look for like timeless, classic pieces of furniture, not necessarily something that's was super on trend at one point. My style, if I have one, is beautiful and simple. I like simplicity.
And classic is classic for a reason.
I
Timeless
agree.
works because it's tried and true. So I love that, like, that mentality also finds its way into your business and your lifestyle. Is like, we're just going to go for the traditional, classical, beautiful, because it works.
Has there been a piece recently that you've passed on, or a commission that you've passed on that just didn't align with your vision, or something you didn't believe in?
So I can't think of a piece, like one piece in particular, that I said no to or didn't take on, but I have made it a new rule that I no longer do dining tables and chairs. I also no longer do big hutches that have lots of glass. And that is just because I've been there, done that. I know the amount of work. I know the amount of space that you need for that. That reminds me also beds, like headboards, footboards.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And they just take up a lot of space. So I don't have unlimited space. I work right here in my home. Tables obviously take up a lot of space, and chairs are simply not fun to paint, especially when I hand paint. I exclusively hand paint, with a brush, all of my furniture. So 1 or 2 chairs is fine. But if someone wants me to do like a dining set with 12 chairs, it's a no. It's hard to say no, especially if a client reaches out, if it's someone that I've worked with before, and oh my gosh, I love your work. Can you do this set? And it's so hard to say no, because it's like, I would love to, but I just can't.
It's so important though that you've set that boundary, and like, that you don't want to do those pieces, because I feel like those are the types of things that can cause you to get burnout or get really frustrated and lose that joy. So
Yes.
But I know how hard it is to like say no. So that's
Right.
really good. You've set that boundary.
I think it's hard, but it really does come with just longevity and experience. Is learning what to say no to is just as important as learning how to balance a book. You know what I mean? Like, it's a
Yes.
skill that
That's true.
does require you to truly reflect and think, like, is this serving me anymore?
Right.
Is this worth my time? Is this worth the money? Is it worth the energy going into a project? And I love that you've been able to narrow down, like, these are the things that I
Right.
just don't serve anymore.
As your business has grown, have you shifted beyond just selling furniture? Does your income break down at all between social media or any like brand deals or anything other than just your pieces that you refinish?
There's only a few brands that I work with. Obviously Zibra, because best brushes. And I work with Melange paints. I pretty much exclusively, well, I shouldn't say exclusively. I work with them and use their paints a lot. I work with Chateau Interiors milk paint, and all of that, is like, I don't even know how you say it, where you just get a commission for your sales or whatever. Right. I can't remember if I don't think I've made any money from Instagram. They went for a while, they would pay for reels, and that was kind of a trial thing. I don't think they're doing that anymore.
No,
I'm on Facebook. Yeah. I'm on Facebook, and they keep wanting me to, get monetized, but every time I do it, it's something didn't work. And I'm frustrated with that. I'm really trying to get into YouTube, and it is hard for me.
What about it do you find difficult?
The editing. the video editing. It's just
Mm.
not my thing. I don't enjoy
Mhm.
it. I don't like it. I don't get it. I do have some videos on there now. I've taken a break and I am going to get back to it, but I just feel like they're very rough and very amateur, and just because it's new for me. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping to grow that.
I wonder, I mean, if you're talking about, and we've talked about this before in other episodes, but like, moving in your zone of genius. Obviously, the furniture flipping aspect is something you feel passionate about. And there are people who feel passionately about editing videos. I wonder if there's
Right.
a road where you can outsource this if it is a goal for you.
Yes.
Are you the type of person, because whenever I don't obviously do a ton, but I like to craft and do projects and random things. But whenever I do something, I get so obsessed with like seeing if it's going to work and seeing how it turns out that like I don't want to be bogged down by having to like stop and film or like think about any other aspect than like the piece. Is that kind of how you operate, or do you take breaks and
Yes, that's 100% me. I actually was just telling my hairdresser this because she owns, her salon, and they have gotten it more into, social media, and where they make cute, funny, reels and
right?
show off their before and afters and all that stuff. And they're all really good. And she's like, I just want to do hair. I want somebody else to do that.
Yeah.
And that is kind of how I feel. Like, I love furniture. I could just sit here and do it. But I do realize that this is the way the world is
I
going,
know.
and
It's unfortunate.
being online. So I need to stay on top of it. So yes, I would love to just sit here and be unbothered and do my furniture, but I need to get better at, this is good content. I need to record this. So
Yeah.
that is one of my goals this year.
I think like it has been one of the biggest struggles is like, I'm an artist, I'm a creator. I didn't do this to be a content creator, but because
Right.
I'm an artist and a creator, I have to be a content creator
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the biggest catch 22. You're like, I want people to see my work.
Yep.
I make these beautiful things, but I don't want to be the one have to post and do it and come up with it. And so
Yes.
it's a big struggle, but it obviously has served you well to be,
Mhm.
showing up in that way.
And I do love sharing. I love sharing. I love helping people and answering questions. I really love that part.
So, what else does growth look like for you this year? I know you mentioned YouTube, but what other growth areas do you have in your business that you'd like to achieve this year?
Yeah, YouTube is probably my biggest goal. I want to learn it and get consistent about it, get better at it, being more consistent and intentional about recording and filming and sharing. I think some people are, it's so easy for them to just say like, everything is content. Everything I do is content. Yep. Making a coffee, that's content. And I'm like, that's weird to me, but
Right.
it's kind of true.
Right. No, it's unnatural. I think that's
Yes.
we actually just interviewed a social media marketer this morning for the podcast, and she's great, but yeah, she was talking about stories and showing up on stories, and it's like that's one of the things I struggle with the most, because it's like I don't want to get on there and show like, I mean, I work out of my house in my little office every day. That's just boring, it's just like, but it
Right.
doesn't come naturally to you. But other people, that's all they show. They show their Starbucks order and then what they ordered from Kava, and then the gym they're going to later, and it's like it's fine.
Right.
But I
Right.
think you just have
I
to
know.
get
And the
over it.
weird
But
thing
it's
is,
hard.
and I'm pretty good with Instagram. I make sure that I get on my stories every day, or like, even if I don't show my face every day, I get on every day. But I was telling my sisters this over Christmas. It's weird because I try to share, lots of furniture stuff and then little bits of personal stuff too. I get a lot of interaction when I share personal stuff. So
Yeah.
even though I might not think that people are interested, yes, that's what people are like I'll say something like, my daughter did this or whatever, and then that's when all the comments come in and questions about it, or my dog's this, what. So I mean, we might think it's boring, but some people like it.
Yeah.
People really want to connect. I mean, that's
Yes.
a very common theme, is like there's just so much online now that I think like we're truly, as we're scrolling, we are looking for humanity and we're looking
Yeah.
for connection. And when we already are following somebody, it humanizes them even more daily when we
Right.
see what they're up to. We see what kind of dogs they have. We see how many kids they have. And
Right.
so it is a mentality to get over it in your head being like, nobody cares, to being like,
Right.
okay, let me put this out there and let the world decide if they care or not. And if they don't, I just won't
Exactly.
post it
So
again.
true.
But if they do, then great.
Right.
So we are really all looking for like the human in everything. And
I agree.
All right, you know what time it is. Don't cry over spilled paint because furniture painting has never gone wrong for anyone, said no one ever.
yes, furniture painting or painting in general. And instead of reading one from the DMs, guys, I have my own spilled paint story.
Uh-oh.
This is a moment. I have never spilled paint on the job. I was painting a mural this week, and I had my speaker clipped in onto my ladder somehow. And I was holding my cup of paint, my new mini handy pail, actually. And the speaker like came unhooked and fell onto me under and like onto my thing. And I was like, oh man, my speaker. So I looked down, I'm picking it up. And I turned away and I looked back and I noticed that there was paint on the concrete and my heart like sank because I've just never had that happen.
You're so clean
And-
of a painter too.
If anything, I'm cautious. I'm slow because I don't like spilling anything. And I remember that Phoebe from Panders said to keep it wet, keep the paint wet. So I went and I was just pouring water bottles on this and like scrubbing it. It came out. We're all good. I did not panic, but that's because I remembered a moment from a community member who shared a fun tip. So that's why we share these stories, is so that everybody knows if you spill
my
paint,
gosh.
keep it wet if it's in the sun.
Oh God, how long did it take you to get it up?
Probably, honestly, only a few minutes. And I did panic, but I went into the store owner and I was like, I have a confession. This is embarrassing because I never spill paint. I'm the cleanest painter. And she was like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And she was so cool. And so I was
that's good.
very happy. Yes,
That's really-
but I didn't panic and I did not
That's
cry over
great.
spilled paint. But I do remember it because I said, I need to share that on the pod.
I love it.
Keep them coming. If you have your own spilled paint story, make sure you DM us at Zibra Painting, and you can share your story or you can share it online with hashtag spilled paint story. And you never know, yours might just make it onto a future episode. I would love to kind of switch gears here, moving away from like the social media side, but I want to talk about the painting side because not every finish performs the same. Are there styles or techniques that you consistently come back to because you know that they're going to sell, they're going to do well?
Kind of like I said before, my kind of style is simple and beautiful. I don't do a lot of, crazy patterns or stenciling or adding too much to my furniture. I'm simple. But as far as finishes, I love a lot of different finishes. I mean, this piece behind me is all wood. I love all smooth paint, but I also love the chippy, distressed look that I get with milk paint. So, and in my market, all three of those sell. So I don't feel like I have to only choose one type of finish. I also don't choose one like style of furniture. So some people, they'll only work on mid-century, or some people will only do ornate vintage, but I kind of do everything, kind of let the piece tell me what to do with it.
Is there a color that you haven't tried yet that you're dying to try this year?
Not really. Not that I can think of. I'm not afraid of color at all. I've pretty much used everything. The color I've probably used the least is like purple, but that's like my least favorite color. So well, besides gray. And but yeah, so I'm not dying to use any certain color, but I definitely love that color that people are loving color. When I first started this about 10 years ago, everybody wanted white everything. It was the
Okay,
white,
yeah.
like farmhouse
Right.
distressed look, which I still love it,
Right.
and there's still a place for that. I still have clients that like that. And now it's like people love color. And I think the dark, deep, moody, earthy tones are back right now. Warm. People
Yeah.
want warm houses instead of the cool grays and whites. So I love that that's coming back. And then of course, black is the new white. So black is definitely my most popular. And
Okay.
10 years ago it was white. I mean, 10 years ago, no one would have dreamed of asking me to paint a piece black. I remember when I first started and I had this piece and I said to somebody, I'm thinking about painting this black. And she was like, and it was like like a hutch or something, a bigger piece. So I'm thinking about painting this black. And she's like, really? She's like, who's going to want a big piece of black furniture in their house? And now it's like, well, who doesn't want that? Yeah,
I'm glad that we're moving away from like the millennial gray
me
white
too.
farmhouse era, because color and maximalism is just so much more fun and
I agree.
probably, I mean, for you, like refreshing to not just keep churning out the exact same thing. Like when people
Yes.
ask for colors, I'm sure it gives you the chance to be a bit creative and like think a little differently. I'm curious, for somebody who sees your work and thinks like, I'm going to do this too, so they're furniture flipping now, what's one painting choice you think people overcomplicate and one that they should spend more time like getting right?
Especially if you're just getting started, I think people overcomplicate adding more, doing more, like more. Sometimes a piece of furniture actually needs a make under, rather than a make over, because there's too much going on. And I think sometimes people think that just painting a piece of furniture isn't enough. So maybe I should add this trim. Maybe I need to add this stencil. Maybe I would say if you're first starting out, just paint it. Just paint it and see what a difference it can make. It is amazing what just a different color can do. So I feel like people overcomplicate that part. Like just painting it isn't enough. And I really think that it is. And something that I think people should pay more attention to, I guess knowing your market is huge for me. And that's something that I think just happens over time, because, you see what sells, but like, just because I love seeing this person's furniture doesn't mean that type of furniture or that style is going to sell in my market. So in order to be successful, I think you need to really find out what works for you and where you're at. And I feel like, your demographics and geographic has so much to do with that.
Has there been anything that you've done that you just couldn't sell?
Well, I have a piece right now. I have a piece right now that I can't sell. Everybody loves it, but nobody wants to buy it. Everyone in my neighborhood knows that I work on furniture because we live right on the corner and I used to work out in my driveway. So people, oh, the furniture lady, whatever. One day last summer, one of my neighbors pulls up outside of my driveway with a big long trailer, comes to my door and he's all excited. And he's like, I've got something for you. And I was like, okay. So I walk out to his trailer and he has this huge, it's a sofa table. It's like a console table. It's taller than a sofa though. So it's not a sofa table. Huge console table, huge ornate glass top coffee table and end tables. And he was so excited about it. And he was just said, the lady that I'm working for, she was going to throw this out. Can you believe she was going to throw this out? It's such high quality furniture. And I know a lady that'll take this. So I could not say no to him.
Oh no.
So
He was just too excited.
It's huge and it's ornate.
You loaded
and
it
it's
in the trailer, brought it all the way over.
Yes. And it is really nice
So-
quality, but it's dated. It's whatever. The coffee table with the glass, I donated that on a local, gracious givers site because I just was not going to deal with that glass. But this big sofa table, I had it in my head, like this would be so pretty in like a deep, rich, like maroon wine burgundy color. And so I work with Melange paints and they don't have a color like that. So I said, here's the color that I want. I kind of mixed it up, sent them a swatch. They made the color. And this was in early fall. And I said, I want to name it September. So the color of this paint color is called September. And we've been doing it ever since now. So now we have October, November, December, and January, February coming soon. So this color is September. I painted this table in September. Everybody loved it. Melange sold out. They had to make batch after batch after batch of this color because everybody loved it so much. Loved it on this table. But I cannot sell this table. Cannot sell it. I think the problem is it's huge. It's
Right.
very, very big.
Okay, well, that's good. I was going to ask what your advice would be if someone's just starting out and maybe they, get the wrong color or they don't like how something finished and they can't end up selling it, what you would suggest?
The first thing I would suggest is restaging it and rephotographing it. I think that's the biggest mistake that people make, is not taking good enough pictures of their pieces. That's what's going to sell your piece. When people are scrolling Instagram, what's going to stop them is that really pretty picture. When people are scrolling Facebook Marketplace to buy something, what's going to stop them is that picture. You can lower the price a little bit. I don't advise that you do that like a lot though, because I feel like, especially on Marketplace, they see that you've marked it down and you've marked it down, and then it's like, well, it's,
That's
what's
the
its real
standard.
worth?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How is working with Marketplace? Has it gotten easier, harder over the years?
I don't use it as my first form of selling
Right.
because a lot of my pieces sell through my Instagram or Facebook pages, which is great.
That's awesome.
And that's obviously what I prefer because I've worked with a lot of, it's return clients or people that
Right.
follow me and know my work. But I have started using Marketplace more. And for me, it's been fine. I think there was a period in there that it was really bad with scammers and no-shows and all of that stuff that comes along with it. But my personal experience has not been that bad.
Yeah, I was curious about that. I'm also curious, do you sell like on Instagram directly, like products on Instagram, or is it DMs? And do you see more success on one or the other?
I don't sell directly like where I have like, here's the link to purchase, but yes, through DMs. So if I share in my stories or on my feed, then people will just message me and I'm interested. Is this available? And kind of same with my Facebook business page. Just I'll post on my page and people will message me if they're interested. So yeah.
I'm curious if somebody wants to do furniture painting for, more than a hobby, furniture flipping, what would be the first shift in the mindset you think that they would need to make?
That it's not gonna happen overnight, and just do it and doing it. I feel like people are very scared to get started. I get messages all the time like I'm nervous, I'm scared. I don't think I'm that good or whatever, but it's like the only way. My husband and I were just having this conversation last night. The only way to get better at anything, especially when it's something like this, is to keep doing it and keep practicing and keep pushing forward. And also like understand that it might be a slow start and that's okay. It's not going to happen overnight, but you need to be consistent and keep showing up and keep working and keep getting better. Keep learning from each piece.
When outsiders look at furniture flipping, like as an industry, what do you think they think from the outside? Like, what's one misconception?
One misconception is that we just slap paint on it. You'll hear that a lot from the haters. Oh, that looks like she just slapped some paint on it. And it's like, no, that's not at all what we do. I'm sure some people have done that, but when you're running a business and a successful one where you're getting repeat clients, they know that you're not just slapping paint on furniture. There's so many steps that they don't see. And that is one nice thing about social media, is that now people can start to see that. But even from the sourcing the furniture, it starts from just finding the furniture, then moving the furniture, hauling the furniture, getting it from here to there, getting it from here to here, cleaning it, prepping it, there's
sanding it,
photographing it, moving it back out. There's so much that goes into it that I think people don't see or understand.
Right. For sure. How many pieces do you work on at once?
One or two, because I work right here in my home, so I don't have a ton of space. So I'll have maybe two pieces going at a time.
Yeah.
When I first started and did it in my garage, in my driveway, I would have like 15 pieces going at once, and just kind of move from one. I loved it so much. I couldn't wait. And, like I told you at the beginning, I don't regret that because that was one of the things that kind of jump started my business. That's how I learned. But this pace, just one or two at a time, is good for me.
I'm curious if you can tell us about like a piece that was maybe your favorite, one of the ones you loved the most. I liked that story about the one that you can't sell because it does have like this silver lining of like this custom paint is lovely and people love it. But it's like a tough piece. But I'm curious to hear from you about like a piece that maybe it was a hard one to work on, but it like it was fulfilling? I'm curious to hear about that.
Yeah, I feel like I have so many. I feel like I would have to like go back through my feed. But the thing is like even when I look at my own pieces, I'm like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember this person. I remember this client. Like I do, like I have a feeling attached to like each piece. One another story that always comes to mind is a lady who had this a beautiful vintage dresser. It was like a 2/2 curvy vintage dresser, and she's a client that I had worked with before, so I knew her. And I can't remember exactly how this went, but it was something like this. Her husband either bought it for her or came from her husband's family, and they always wanted to she wanted it black. She had wanted black, distressed, wood top, whatever. But they never got around to it. They always talked about it. That's what they wanted to have done with it. Well, her husband passed away, kind of unexpectedly, and so she reached out to me and just said, we always wanted to do this with this piece. We never did. Now my husband passed away. Would you be able to still do this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. She brings it to me. I did it. When she picked it up, when she came to the house to pick it up and I had it sitting out for her, she wept in my driveway. She hugged me and just wept. And it was like, oh my gosh, and it's like, to some people, it's like, it's just a piece of furniture, but like, for whatever reason, that had meaning to her and I helped kind of bring it. So I'm like, okay, this is why I do this. This is why I do it and why I love it.
True humanity to connect to a piece of furniture, but
Yes.
it does mean something and it's bigger than
Yes.
just, 4 legs of
Yeah.
wood.
So I know listeners probably will wonder how you got the relationship, to kind of backtrack, with Melange to be able to go and create those custom colors and paint colors. That is so cool. First of all, maybe tell people where they can find them and then how that relationship came to be.
Gosh, I don't remember what year it was. I feel like it was before 2020. It was maybe 2018 or 19. They reached out to me. They had just started making their own paint, super, super small, just husband and wife team mixing up their paint. And they had a very small Instagram following, a couple hundred people. So they must have found me on Instagram, reached out to me. Would you like to try our paint? And I said, sure. And they sent me a jar of paint and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And so from there, it was just kind of like, I shared it and other people tried it and other people loved it. And then they started making more colors. They started growing and it just kind of happened like that. So I've been with them since the very beginning. And we've kind of grown, together.
Yeah.
I love their painted product. I love their company. I love working with them. And so I share it, that's why I share it, because I love it. But, they're on Facebook, Instagram, obviously their website is melangepaints.com. And my discount code is Jen10, just JEN10 for 10% off.
That's
And it works all the time.
That's so cool. So you have one a month coming out every month this year?
That's our plan. That's our plan.
That's
It started
awesome.
with my September table. I knew what color I wanted, and then it just happened to be in September. So I was like, this is cool. And then I'm like, I already know what color that I want for October. It's this
That's
kind of
awesome.
a terracotta orange. And then I'm like, December, January. So yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. So how are you picking out which color you want for each month?
It kind of started out with like how the month, like what color do you think of when you think of October? What color, but that gets hard with paint
Right.
colors because January, for example, when people
Black.
think,
I
right. Well, what I think of when I think of January is gray,
Yeah, gray. That's better.
gray,
Yeah.
dull, ick. At least that's what the weather is like here. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do a gray paint color. Like that's no fun. Or even white. Some people thought of white because of snow. Well, Melange has enough whites. We don't need that. So for January, I kind of just spun it as I want refreshing. I want something happy because January can be a blah month because the holidays are over, the weather isn't great. So I wanted something refreshing and happy. So I chose like this really super pretty mint green.
Ooh,
And it's just a
that's
happy,
perfect for
refreshing
January.
color.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Not too bright,
Yep.
still muted. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like too, you talked about how, they sent you the paints and you tried them and it was just easy to promote them. That's just like, I mean, not to shout us out, but Zebra, it's easy to plug something when it works really well and when you love it. So I love that you found that with paint.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's the thing. And I feel like people feel that. Like it's not forced. Like I'm not sharing this just because I'm trying to make money. I'm sharing it because I love it, and I want you to try it too. And it might not be the paint for everybody, but it is for me, and I'm sharing what I love. And I feel that about Zebra brushes too. I always, whenever I share Zebra brushes, it's always like saying like, if you know, because once you've tried it, then you know. And if you haven't tried it, you have to, because there's just a different feel, and it's awesome.
Quick break to share something exciting. The Golden Brush Awards are finally happening. Thank you so much to everyone who entered. The talent this year has been unreal. So public voting opens February 13th, and we'll need your help deciding who takes home the Golden Brush trophies in each category. So stay tuned and get ready to vote. All right, it's time for one of our favorite parts of the show. This is the golden moment. This is where we share something that felt golden recently, not perfect, just meaningful. Maybe it was a piece that sold faster than expected, or a message from a customer, a story of, a piece of furniture meaning something, or just a moment where you felt really grounded. Jen, do you have a golden moment recently?
I feel like this is something that has been so meaningful to me and in my journey, I guess, is that my golden thing about what I do is by far the people that I've met and connected with, not only clients who buy my furniture, but my fellow furniture friends and my fellow or my followers and the companies that I work with. I have been a stay-at-home mom since my kids were little, and I loved it, loved every moment of it, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But it can get very lonely when you don't have adult conversations or interactions when you're home with your kids all the time. So when I first started this, like I said, my kids were 7 or 8 at the time. So they were in school, but it was still I was craving something for me. And furniture was that, but also I could not believe the people that I met, the relationships that I've made, and how much I needed that in my life. And I'm so happy that I have that now, because there are followers on Facebook and Instagram and fellow, furniture people that I talk to daily, that I've made friends with. I've never met them in real life, but I want to. I can't wait to. And I just think that has been such a highlight and something that I wasn't seeking out, and I didn't even know that I needed until I got it through this. And it's been so good.
They say there's something special about the online friends, because there's a way to connect with somebody without the pressure of knowing you have to face them, that we can be a bit more vulnerable online with strangers even sometimes. And it's but then they become friends. I have friends in Wisconsin I've never met. And I'm well, yeah, maybe one day I'll meet you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I talk to them every day.
Like I said, some of them what I have in common with them is we both do furniture, but some people, are just followers or fans. And then I shared something about my daughter, or what my daughter does that too. And then somehow you connect that way. And it's just been really, really nice. And then of course my clients and repeat clients who I just love. And I feel so lucky.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for being here today, for being honest with us and sharing a little peek inside your world and your business, and sharing some painting tips with you. It was so good to catch up with you again.
All right. Yes. Thank you. It was fun.
Yeah, I had such a blast. It was such a good conversation and reminder that, that success looks just different for everybody. But for you, it was all about the intentionality and learning and staying consistent, and really about creating a community with your with your online friends and followers.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, where can everyone find you?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Perfectly Imperfect Furniture, and YouTube. But if you come to YouTube,
we're gonna cheer you on.
Yes. Don't judge. I'm just starting out. It might look a little rough, but I'm going to try to get better.
Well, we will make sure that everything is linked, but definitely make sure to go give Jen a follow. Her work is full of inspiration if you are looking to buy a piece or if you are looking to start furniture flipping.
We'll be back soon with more brush and banter. Until then, keep creating, keep learning, and don't cry over spilled paint.
Thank you for listening to the Brush and Banter podcast, brought to you by Zibra. We're so grateful you're a part of the creative community. Gearing up for your next project? Head to enjoyzebra.com to grab your new favorite brushes, designed for comfort, precision, and serious creative flow. Be sure to follow Zebra Painting on Instagram for painting tips, artist features, and more. If you enjoyed our banter, subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and review. Now, go make something beautiful. We'll be here when you need a little banter.